Gonna introduce my boy here, Jake.
What's happening?
Trash Can Talk podcast. I don't know what episode we're on. It's got to be around 20.
20, 25? I know this is our, third?
This is our third episode. Last time we spoke about Kanye West, and the day that we made the episode, before it got posted by beautiful Lauren, even though I said maybe hold it back, but you know how we roll.
Just let it go.
We let it fly.
He was immediately canceled after that, wasn't
right. And like the next day. So we did the podcast the morning at 10:30 noonish, from 10:30 to noon the day. He had just walked his fashion show. It could have went any way, but it went the worst possible way.
Standard Kanye.
I'm not going to talk about my views on that. I'm going to just move to Liver King.
The Liver King, dude. I'm hot on that guy. That guy pissed me off.
Last week, Liver King let us all know that he is on a cycle of steroids.
That dude pissed me. That pisses me off. I mean, I knew, obviously.
Oh, dude, if you don't know, come on.
Anybody that has an idea, but here's the way I saw it. Like, I made a video on this just saying how, like, now he's apologizing or saying whatever because he's been outed, and people are like, you know, kind of treating him like, well, good for him. He's coming out, he's owning it. And I'm like, but you got caught. Like, you spent 2 years huge on social media.
Right.
And it was all to sell your products and your lifestyle, which obviously fills his bank account. And it's not that he just never said he did it. Like, he adamantly denied it on so many huge platforms.
He's like, they say I have ab etching. Oh my God, come on.
He was on Barstool right before this all happened, and it was literally talking like, they even, well, you're on PEDs, right? And he's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to come clean. He's like, I am. And then he's like, I prep, I blah, like he said some old acronym for it, like saying this is my thing, denying that he's on it. And then he's like, well, you take Winstrol. He's like, oh, no, I don't know much about that. And then that's one of the things that came out. You're like, oh, you're on $3,000 worth of Winstrol every month.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? So everybody's like, you know, anybody that bought his stuff thinking he was natural deserves to lose money. It's like, well, think about it like this. Like, there's people that have never been to a gym.
Right.
They know nothing about any of this stuff. Like, they legitimately don't know. Like, if we went to go take piano lessons by a very good piano teacher, we would listen to whatever they say.
Yeah,
and think it's true.
Thing's pretty, you know what I mean? There was a good show. You know what I mean? Like, come on. This guy's getting people to eat, like, testicles. He's, like, bringing them to... And for a second, though, too, I was almost like, wait a sec. I mean, even me.
I know.
I did go through my phase of being like, wait, is this really...
I mean, there's benefits to it, I'm sure. But
and then some of my friends, too, who, like, buy into they're like, well, not from the liver, but his supplement. His supplement has it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, is this guy doing some...
I'm sure his stuff, I'm sure works. I'm sure the supplements are good for people, but to do what you did and sell, he's the selling point. That's
right.
The thing. Like, he's the selling point of his supplements, and the whole selling point is, we're going to look like this dude. That's the whole point of it. And it's like, he's on $150,000 a year of PEDs,
right?
Drugs that enhance your body. You can't look like that, and people just don't know. But that's what gets me. Like, we talk about people getting canceled. It's like, I think people that abuse the platform for financial gain, and this should be canceled. Like,
this
that
guy
dude should be like, you just made $5 million lying to everybody for 2 years.
Do you think he made $5 million?
No, but whatever. I'm sure he made a ton of money.
I guess there's one episode that I'll never fucking watch that he says, like, what he really financially gains from.
Really?
But
I'd be curious.
I know, I should watch it maybe. Because I am curious. The guy seems actually like a genius.
I mean, just having that many followers on both your social media platforms pays pretty significantly either way. He's got millions.
I think that this guy, so, like, this always happens. Mm-hmm. Andy Kaufman did it. What's that one? Do you remember him? He played that one, Tony Clifton. But Andy Kaufman, you don't remember him?
Uh-uh.
This was this guy.
I if I saw him.
He's, yeah, like, Andy Kaufman. He would...
Jamie, pull up Andy Kaufman for us.
Can we just give a round of applause for the newest part of the team?
Mitch, our guy back there?
Mitch? He'll be making all this happen. Hopefully, this will be a fruitful experience for all of us from this point on.
It will.
So this is Andy Kaufman.
Okay.
Even in post, you could pop the head up.
Animal.
I mean, I don't know if you remember him. He just like he was in movies. He made this alter ego, Tony Clifton, that was like a lounge singer that was overweight and obviously he's skinny. So he would he'd dress up and become this other persona. And then a lot of people say that he lost himself in the person that he played, which everyone says wasn't him. So this regular guy that would go on, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
He joined the WWF and he was a total piece of shit. He pissed everyone off.
The real guy?
Yeah, well, that's we don't know. So a lot of people say that Andy Kaufman became this character. He would fight. He would women wrestle. He would wrestle in the women's division and beat the fucking shit out of him. But then he'd be like, "I'm the best. I'm amazing." You know what I mean? So like,
people don't. That's the thing. Like today versus then. I watch so much stuff. Like you look at it. Speaking of wrestling, like you listen to the stuff those old WWF guys. Hulk Hogan back in the 90s and early 2000s, that would never, ever fly now.
Right.
Anything they say. The way they talk to women, the way they talk about whatever, handicapped people, whatever.
Yeah.
They say everything and anything, and it was what it was. It was entertaining because nobody took things as personal as they do now, but there's just so much now that doesn't fly, and I think the bummer about that is that it just restricts so many people from being like who they are,
right?
In a sense of, I want to say this, but I'm going to say it a little different. It's not going to come across, in such an effective way where if I could just say what I wanted without worrying about it, I'd probably be more constructive to people. But I got to watch what I say, and it comes off as like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Instead of like, if you hit somebody between the eyes with the facts and what you're really thinking, then they're like, oh yeah, okay, that's makes sense. Like Andrew Schultz, the comedian.
Right.
He talked to the Liver King. And I saw it yesterday. It was a clip. It was like 1 minute. And he's just talking about, like, you're talking about being a man. He's like, but our ideas are different. He's like, you're out there bench pressing and being a man and walking with all this weight and doing all this stuff. He's like, you have a wife and kids I've never seen. Like, my idea of being a good man is like being a good father, being a good whatever. He's like, how much time do you spend with them? Like, because if we're measuring men and yours is bench press, he's like, I'm here on your scale. Like,
it
I'm
seems
not
that Liver King spends a lot of time with this.
I'm sure he does.
They're always on the thing.
And that's what he was asking, though. He's like saying...
Now he's going to become an asshole, though. Because his estrogen levels, he's going to be all out of whack. If he really stops taking steroids, we will notice.
He's not going to stop.
I don't believe it.
He's not going to stop.
Never. I mean, here's the thing. So, technically, though, and this is going to be his... For anyone watching... Medically, now, after you take all that, they're going to say you have to be on TRT.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's on TRT. Yeah. So then how is he now going to... You know what I mean? And You're right. There's no telling either, like, what levels that they're going to suggest that he be. Because, like, it's going to be so out of whack. What's his baseline, dude? Does he even know? Does he ever had... You know what I mean? So it's like... This guy now has a free pass to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, and he's going
Unfortunately, dude. You know, but...
Yeah, there's no...
It's so fucking entertaining.
He's entertaining.
I can't stop watching it.
That's the whole point, I think. That's what these people do. It's like viral pays. Viral is what gets you where you want to be. I mean, I have no problem with him, like, using a platform to get what he wants. There's people in life that don't have a platform, that work behind the scenes, that sell drugs to people that should never have drugs. Like, all that shit. There's people that make their money in all kinds of terrible ways. Politicians, probably some of the worst. Like, everybody everywhere has their own ways. But when you're... And I also don't think, like... I look at athletes and actors, and it's like their job is under a microscope. That's fine. I don't think you have a responsibility to, like, be somebody in the public eye because of your job.
And I don't care, dude, that it's Mark McGrath, Sammy Sosa.
Yeah,
Mark I think
McGuire.
They're fucking... yeah. Mark McGrath is what the...
I think he's is he the singer from...
Sugar Ray?
Yeah, he
Mark
is.
Mark McGuire.
He is.
But just see, your fans are gonna come for me on that one, huh? Mark McGrath instead of Mark. They're like, fuck this guy. But see, look, I just remember watching that sports stuff, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I've never been super into baseball, any of that stuff, but that was fucking amazing. I loved watching that race. It was a phenomenal and that shit got me in.
It was an awesome era in baseball. That's why now everybody talking about, like, reviving the sport and baseball's dying. Like that's one of the most
Get
common
them
things.
all on
Bring
steroids.
steroids back. Bring steroids back. And it's one of those things. It's like we all want to see people do things we can't do. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to see a guy throw 102 miles an hour because he's on juice? Yeah. And do I want to see another dude who's also on juice hit that 102 mile an hour fastball 500 feet? Yeah.
Right.
Like that's exciting. That's
And we wouldn't
entertaining.
fucking watch the WWF if they weren't allowed to take steroids.
No, if they're just a bunch of regular dudes
Right.
running around wrestling, it's like, so. But that's my thing. Like, I don't think just because your career has given you a platform that you're now supposed to be not influencer isn't the word, but like you're not. I don't think you have an obligation to do the right things as far as what you say and leading kids or whoever your fans are. It's like this is who I am. Like,
Right.
I'm just gonna be me. I'm not
So
gonna
wait.
tell you things. I don't know. It's tough.
Look, I just talked you in a circle.
Mhm.
So, like, we know that wrestling is fake.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's just like the Liver King too. I was like,
Mhm.
everyone knew.
Yeah, that's true.
There's got to be no one that didn't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
But
You
no.
knew he was on steroids, right?
Just look at the guy, yeah.
But see, when you think about it, like you can equate these 17, 18-year-old kids that have never worked out, don't know anything about it,
Right.
right? We know he's on stuff. They have no idea.
You're right,
They
right.
literally have no idea. Just like we know wrestling's fake, but 12-year-old me thought I couldn't believe the Undertaker
It
was
was the
a
best
real
thing in
person.
the world.
I
See,
thought
I
I
still
thought he
struggle-
came back from the grave. I'm like, oh
I
my
still
god! Like I
struggle
thought it
with
was
that.
real. I thought it
Because
was
if
real.
you ask me, is wrestling fake? I'm like, well, no, they really are doing that
They're
shit.
really doing this stuff, but they're not.
Do we know who's
They're
gonna
not actually
win?
fighting
Right.
each other like angry. It's wild. That's what I would answer to that is those same 18 to 35, 40-year-olds that don't know he's on stuff are the same as the 12-year-olds that think wrestling's real.
And it's
They just don't know.
it's even like obviously we had Christy on here on one of the episodes. She
Mhm.
talked about reality TV.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, every time that we did this, it was set up and the things. And I went to go film on the show too, and I mean, it was like we are not going to stop filming
Mhm.
until there's a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll just keep
Just keep
Cut.
going.
all right, guys, come on. You know, like, cut. All right, now they're really irritated.
Sooner or
We've
later,
been here
yeah.
18 hours.
Once they
Let's
start
go.
yelling and going, then we got
They're
to
just like, here's the alcohol.
get fueled up, get angry. Let's have some action.
And so I mean that's the thing though, is like with Liver King, you're still getting that similar vibe. He wakes up every day and on his story he's like, Liver King's making this for breakfast.
know.
Liver King out.
I know.
We're right here flying on this. We're about to have this. Livers in every meal. Liver King out. So you almost it gives you the sense of being like, I'm here all day with this guy.
Yeah.
Never is he saying I'm gonna go shoot 20 cc's of.
I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna eat this liver. Then I'm gonna
Come
go.
on.
It's impossible. Look at that, dude. What are we doing? See, that's the thing. Like people literally look
Veins.
at that. They literally look at that and think that that's possible by his diet.
Right. That's the thing too. Is even when you're working out, when you're that's the thing I do get.
Like
He's-
you're not the idiot for believing him if you don't know any better. He's the asshole for making you buy his products because you don't know any better. That's the way I see it. Like I don't care who you are. If you believe that's achievable because you don't know any better, then good for you. If you know that 50% of the people that are watching you think that's natural and you're going to say, cool, let me sell them my supplements now, fuck you.
See, and here, so this, so right there too. This guy starts out saying, "I just do this for the 80 million or what's his like."
For you guys in the suicide and all the men's health.
But he has the. I'm just doing this for the 4.8%.
Yeah.
He's got like these number and these statistics, and he's like, so I'm just doing this for you motherfuckers who I know are on your last bit of life. You know what I mean? Like.
That's another thing that pissed everybody off.
That's the bit of the that's where he like.
That's where people really hated it. But when he apologized and then went into, I didn't even watch the 12-minute apology. I just saw little clips. He went into, I guess, that where he's like, I did this for, and it's like, man, come on, dude.
Right, but then to let him down.
That's yeah.
Because I'll be honest too. So there was a certain point in COVID where I was so down and out because I'm like, I lost my job. I wasn't really gaining weight during COVID, but I was in this mindset. I was like, well, if I'm not working, then I really need to be up in the ante in like some physical aspect or some. So I watched like Wes Watson.
Yeah.
And he's got a very similar Liver King vibe. But he's like, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
You're a fucking bitch because you're not doing shit right now. But he excelled in that same time point because the whole world was like, I want to commit suicide. Everyone had this feeling of impending doom that you just couldn't like escape. And so he, on the same, playing on those same heartstrings, got a lot of people to sign up for. And I just remember too looking for it and being like, all right, let's see what's going on here. And this guy actually responds to every fucking one of his.
Does he?
Oh my God.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
For real too. It's crazy. Him. He has no one working for him. So every time, so he was just like, this is my thing. It costs $5,000 a month. Blah, blah. And then you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, dude.
$5,000 a month. And he's like, well, yeah, you got this like 24-hour support because he has like a burpee team and there's this Zoom meeting with every client that he has. And I understand too that it is. So my viewpoint on going after that was to look at like, well, can I structure a business how he did? And what would that look like?
Yeah.
Like, what if I wanted to do like, my job coaching on this really big scale, and then I'd be so there was a layers of not just like, oh, I want to better myself, but I was like, I'll learn how you know. What I mean? But then the other day I was like, dude, $5,000 fucking dollars. I rather buy like a camera and some lighting.
That's an expensive learning curve. Like to pay the money to learn when you could, like you said, go buy the camera and then go to YouTube for free, learn how to use the camera, learn how to edit, learn how to do whatever. But I just think, I don't know, it's always hard for me to listen to like other people and really try to take on their not advice and like stuff like that, but their viewpoints of things. Like my buddy did that for like 2 years straight. The guy I told you about that disappeared on his family and his book. He is like when I watch him and listen to whatever he says or to even chat with him or talk to him, like a year ago he told me all the books he's reading and all the people, and it's like these three people, right? He's really into this guy, and that guy. And I know enough about all three of the authors and people that I'm like, looking at you now, you're just a snowball of those people. Like that's all you are. But you think you're like, you got some stuff figured out. Yeah. And it's like, so for me, I like the motivational stuff, like, from certain people. But when it comes to like ideas and all that, like the less that I hear, the more every thought I have is like my own.
Right.
Which makes it easy for me to say, this is what I think, what I believe in because of me. Not like, I really like this dude and now I'm just him. I'm like, part of the big majority of me and my thoughts and my actions are because of this guy. I like little life changes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you said, you hear somebody go, stop being a bitch, get up and work out. And you're like, yeah, it's probably a good idea. Like that's not taking that guy on. That's just saying, I just needed to hear that to now go be me at 6 a.m. instead of wake up at 8 and go, I don't feel like it. Like that's different.
Some people though do need that.
A lot of people do.
And it does make a positive impact. You know what I mean? Like there's no way you could let Wes Watson or almost too, even if you were to like, okay, so like listen to the message, but fuck the messenger. You know what I mean? So even if you shoot down the messenger, which is the liver king, I'm sure if you started living your life,
ton of stuff.
Yeah,
ton of stuff.
Because dude, even like his overhead press, I'm like, damn, dude,
nuts.
And I always wonder too. I'm like, dang, is he really like? He is fit as fuck.
He's very fit.
That guy for sure has been 30 years
doing
deep.
it a long time.
Yeah.
For sure. You can't.
Same with Wes, but dude,
if he took $150,000 worth of PEDs and didn't work very hard, he would look like everyone else in your regular gym that took some steroids. He'd look okay. But the way he looked that's dedication, nutrition.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Workout. That's everything. So
I don't care how much gear you're on. You can't just look like that without.
You have to be there.
The same with Wes, dude. I mean, there's no way that guy is not on the same amount. He's got to
Gotta
be.
be. Well, that's like
Those guys have
those
identical,
people. That's why
but
personal
very
trainers.
fucking disciplined.
Yeah, that's why personal trainers, I think, will never go away. In 2022, if you can't find a workout routine and what you need to do on YouTube for free,
Right.
then that's your problem. But people hire these trainers, and that's why like a workout partner is important, because it's accountability. That's all it is. Like, you could literally go to YouTube and find whatever workouts you need for your body.
Right.
But YouTube's not going to call you at 6 a.m. and go, see you at 6:30, right?
Right.
And you're not paying YouTube to say, I need you to be there in the morning. And so if you don't show up, you don't pay YouTube anything. But if you're my personal trainer and I'm paying you $50 a session, whether I'm there or not, because you are,
Right.
I'm wasting your time. You're like, cool, that's $50 for sleeping in. Good job.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, I gotta go.
That gives you the
It's just accountability.
right. So I would even attribute it to this with speaking on both of these guys, and this last couple months, I think my depression took the furthest turn that it, you know what I mean, that it ever.
Good way or bad way?
No, in a bad way.
Yeah.
My cousin passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, work is more, school is more.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I don't know if if I wasn't surrounded by the core group of people, I would have made the decision to pull the trigger on getting a West Wall. I would have.
Mm-hmm.
5,000, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go back to what I used to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that to you and to a bunch of people that at some point.
It's an easy decision.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just have to be able to justify it, and it's easy for people to justify it
Right.
at certain times. Like you said, during Corona, when you were like, you couldn't justify it.
No.
You feel the way you felt the last couple months. Now, all of a sudden, it becomes justifiable because you know where you've been in your life.
Right.
And you know what $5,000 would keep you out of.
Right.
Versus what it's going to do for me. It's not what it will do for you. It's what it's going to stop you from doing. Kind of is what I guess.
Definitely.
So it just makes sense. And you can't put a price on what's important to people. That's the big thing. It's like.
And that's where I look at where, you know, when you bring up the fact that, like, dude, this guy, I mean, that's the one thing I get is like, man, this guy really fucking played on that emotional chord in people that, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. He's a piece
but
of
at the
shit.
same time,
he's a piece of shit that says good things. Like, that's
Right.
to me. Like, I look at
the
it.
guy might be a nice guy, though.
He probably is. But when it comes
we
to.
might actually get along with him if we met him in person.
We probably would. I've
Right.
seen his stuff. I liked him. I thought he was funny. I looked at him even and went, this dude is juiced out of his mind, but what do I care? If it wasn't for him adamantly denying it publicly on huge platforms, I would have no problem. If he just,
Right.
if nobody ever asked him about it and he never said I'm on steroids, I wouldn't care at all.
They asked him every day.
They asked him every day on
There's not
every
one
platform,
person.
and it wasn't like he denied it. He adamantly said, no,
Right.
never touched it. And it's like, that to me is the only thing that makes him a piece of work. Like, I mean, like Joey Swole. I made a video of that dude the other day. He owns everything he does. Like,
Right.
He's a guy that
Have
really,
they
what he
done
does-
a thing together yet?
I don't know. I
Talked?
don't know.
Right.
But
Maybe
that's
you
a
could
guy.
advise him on freaking.
Yeah, like I saw a video where somebody said something about the video I made of Joey Swole. He was hitting a bomb, like wiffle ball, whatever. And somebody was like, I think Bonds could hit a ball farther. And he commented back, he's like, I don't know, we're both on the same stuff. And I'm like, that's a guy saying like, yeah, this is, he's not
Joey
gonna lie
Swole
to people.
commented back on your thing?
Yeah, I
someone?
made a thing saying, I was talking to him about, I just did one of my standard baseball like TikToks and tagged him, and I'm like, I'll tell you what, dude, we should just collab. I'll teach you how to pimp a home run. You can teach me how to work out. And he responded, we've been texting, like I'm gonna cruise up there and work out with him at some point. But that's just a dude that he's got 5 million followers because people, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And that at the end of the day is what people really want, number one, but it's easy to see. And I think we talked about this a while ago about it's a bummer that like this day and age, it's very easy to recognize like a genuine, well-intended person
Right.
because there's not so many of them.
Right.
And it's like, it would be harder to recognize if everybody was like that. And then you're looking for the person that's not.
Right.
It's like so many people are just snaky and trying to do this that when you meet somebody with like literal, like just like you've helped me for the 2, 3, 4 years we've known each other.
Right.
No strings attached, haven't asked for a thing.
Right.
I've helped you as much as I could in any chance, same thing. Like I think we both now know, yeah, this is a genuine dude that is never going to hit
People
me up,
do,
like,
they
hey,
freak
remember
out.
when I gave you this? Can you come over and you owe me? It's like, dude,
Yeah.
we've never owed each other a single thing.
People freak out though. They really do.
They don't get it.
They don't get it.
They
I know.
literally look at you and go, "Oh no, I can't take that because what? Well, then I'm gonna." It's like you're not gonna do anything.
Right.
You know, I'm never ever gonna go. Hey man, remember when I gave you that microphone? Like,
You know,
just
what really
saying, I
people
need
freaks
this.
people out is when you do something for them and then you go, you know what? You need to be paid for your expertise. I know that you owe me,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
people get paid for the. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
sends people for a loop.
It does. It
Then
really
they're
does.
really like, "What's going on? Is this
Yeah,
guy
what
gonna try
now?
and take his wiener out or something?" You know what I mean? Like, what's gonna
Do something
happen right
weird.
now?
What am I gonna really owe him?
Right.
Yeah, I just that's my thing, man. I think it's sad that genuine people are so easy to pick out of a crowd now because there's so few of them. It's like picking a tiger out of a herd of lions. You're like, it's right there.
Right.
It's easy.
These guys, though, I mean, I really go back though too to like their message is so good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing though, is that nobody wants. So like even me, it's like I just, in good faith to myself, I couldn't like sober coach you or job coach you or life coach you and be like, I have all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is people want someone that has all the answers. And that's why I think if I was ever to go in that field and why I've really steered clear from doing this with as much people who've like offered me to be in that position, take over life coaching businesses, I just can't lie to you.
Yeah.
There is no answer to everything. Nobody has all the answers.
No.
And it's like it constantly evolves and changes. So like,
But see,
maybe
somebody would listen to you more knowing that like, okay,
you would be
this guy-
surprised.
well, I guess the right people would. I mean, if
The
it was
right
me,
people would.
I'd rather have somebody like you that says, look, dude, I might be right 70% of the time. I coached baseball for 10 years. I learned things from 10-year-olds.
Right. Oh yeah,
and,
for sure.
And 50-year-olds have been doing it for 40 years. Like,
Yeah.
I learned from everybody. But a 10-year-old would say something that I'm trying to say, like, in a detailed, professional way. And he'd say, you mean just do this? I'm like, that'll work for a 25-year-old. Like, that's an easy, simple way of saying what I was overcomplicating. And to learn, I said the same thing. I don't have all the answers. I have ideas. I have what I think is, the best way to do things. And however I say it, I do the same thing with my coaches. Dude, I've been telling this kid for a week to do this. You go tell him.
Right.
And I just know he's going to say it different than I won't say, here's how I told him.
Right.
He'll just have a different verbiage that's maybe that clicks to the kid. And he goes, oh, yeah, cool. And I'm like, damn, I was trying to do that for a week.
It's like
you came in and said it different. And now he's like, easy. So I just think, like you said, to me, I would prefer somebody like you that would say, hey, look, dude, I want to help you. I'm going to be very beneficial to you. But just so you know, not everything I say is gold. Like, I might tell you to do something, you might do it, and we might circle back a week later and go, my bad, dude, that was probably not the call for you.
Yeah.
Like, that worked for this guy, but he's different than you. I thought that was the answer. Now I know, like, it is for him, but I didn't break you down enough to know it's not the answer for you. So, I don't know. I think that genuine side of telling somebody the truth. People
it's funny
will pay
too,
for the truth.
because I realized that the most after watching our first episode that we did, to watch myself on camera talking about things. But I feel like, too, I was realizing it in our first episode.
Yeah.
Because prior to doing that episode and watching it, I thought I was that guy. I was like, I got all the answers now.
Yeah.
I could help anyone. And then you start going into that world of helping people, and you're like, oh, wait, never mind. This isn't real. There is no one. You know what I mean?
That's
it's a constant evolution.
That's a rightful thought for you because you, and I know sobriety and doing what you're doing is a day-to-day, truly a day-to-day thing. It is day-to-day. But to go how many years now?
5.
5 years, you have clearly figured out what works for you thus far. Like, you have that figured out. So to think that you have the answers makes sense.
Right. It
but
goes
to
in
be humble enough and not have a big enough ego to go, even when you feel like you might not go, no, I do. It's like to be able to say, I thought I did, and I do have a lot of answers, but I don't have them all. There's also a whole slew of answers I don't have.
There's a lot of things that like help, in the survival mechanism of like business and creating, being a creative person, that I attribute from being the guy who lived under a bridge. like on Skid Row, and
Mhm.
then getting to where I'm at now.
Yeah. That's what I told Jamie.
Which is
I
it
said,
is
hey, dude, when you meet this guy, I tell everybody that like might meet you or whatever, I tell them that exactly that, like a 2-sentence story on you.
right.
I'm like, the dude lived.
Destitutely homeless.
I'm like, the dude lived in Skid Row for however long, and he now is in a spot where he's running multiple businesses, doesn't even say it. It's like he's running an absurd amount of things successfully. Got his fiance now, got his
Right.
kid. It's like this is a guy that went from here to here, and it's unbelievable. We talked about I was telling about your energy. I'm like, and I told you this morning. I'm like, I don't know what it is, man. These guys that go through this stuff, all of a sudden their energy is just nonstop for work, positive, whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
like, and I don't know why.
There's, I mean,
don't know.
it
Were
goes.
you like that? Like, were
I've
you
always
always
been
like
like
that?
that. So like, using like getting up to get loaded, it was an
Mhm.
immediate like I'm going to do something, and for
This
sure
is what's gonna
there
happen.
was no question in my mind every day if I was gonna get high.
Yeah. It was
100%.
just how quick.
Could
and
wake up
where.
with like no shoes, no money, handcuffed to something,
Uh-huh.
and it's happening. You know what I mean? Like
It's wild.
before that, when I was like really little, like my dad had just moved this insurance company, and I learned how to use like Excel spreadsheets, and I learned how to use Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and all these things. And I was like, Dad, tell everyone at your office I offer these services, and I could do this work for them, and then they could just pay me directly. And then I
Mhm.
remember the main guy from his office, Larry, like the main guy. It was like, you're hired. You know what I mean? So, like, it was always, putting porno on floppy disks and bringing it to school, like the pictures. You know what I mean? Like,
check this out.
I was always on, those were like the hustles that were all happening in the same time. You know what I mean? So, like,
It's always been that way.
and that's the thing. I cannot teach you this because I was born with it.
Yeah.
So, when people say, teach me that drive, I can't. You don't have it. You know what I mean? Like,
It's part
people
of-
do have it, but you don't have mine.
Yeah.
And this is a God-given gift.
Mhm.
And I think, too, a lot of this.
I agree. Totally.
Yeah. All of that, though. And the reason I can't teach you it is because you have to have a spiritual connection with your creator, your God, and you have to build from there.
Mhm.
Because you're talking about a guy who lived under a bridge, checked himself, was 5150, put in mental health facilities, and then being like, you'll never be. Like, the best we could offer you is maybe you just stay here forever, and you'll be all right. So
And you'll survive for however long you survive, and that'll be the story.
On, what is Britney Spears? It's the, what do they call conservatorship.
Yeah.
So you mean like they're like, let's make you, put you under conservatorship in these mental health facilities, and you'll get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you'll walk around in a hallway like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And you'll be happy because
That's
it's better
the best
than where
we
you were,
can do for
and
you,
that's
bro.
it. It's wild.
That's what like clinical like this is what doctors are telling me.
Did you have like your own moment of like, I'm better than that, I'm gonna do it? Or did you have somebody in your life that was, when people were telling you that, somebody else said, no, you get better in here for 30 days, whatever it is, and when you get out, you're gonna be did somebody inspire you, like push you, whatever? Or was it just
like
you?
I'll put it this way. So I posted this one thing a couple days ago, and it says, be thankful for the people who spoke to the winner in you before you started winning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was no way to speak to that winner until I remember the day I was walking down the street in Magnolia from North Hollywood into Burbank, and this voice came into my head, and it was like, you're done. And I was like, wait. In my head, so I don't know if this is real. Everyone tells me never talk about this. You'll sound crazy.
This is real.
So in my head, I'm like, so I just went through all this stuff to just become a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous and help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the voice in my head said, yeah. And I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
And I just kept walking. You know what I mean? And it was just from that day on that whatever it was, I mean, there was a lot that went into that one day I was walking down the street. There was a lot of, in my opinion, you know, God talking to me through other people, through actions. You know what I mean? And that shaped the person who in this physical world now is able to get that kind of stuff from other people.
I love it. I
But
I don't think that sounds crazy. I think that to me is
dude,
like,
people do think that sounds crazy. There's a good, you know what I mean? And it's funny though, because it doesn't to someone who's like, I speak that language, but, you know, and let me just put it this way too, preface this. Talking like that when I used to tell people this, and I was on Skid Row still, so my story started out there again. On Christmas, 4 years ago, probably like next week to the date, I got out of jail probably like in next week. So 4 years ago, like next week time,
just
get out of
before
jail.
Christmas.
It's like 3 days before Christmas. And now I have over a year sober, and I show up to Christmas, and everyone gives me like clothes, sweater. I just got out of jail, and I was like homeless as fuck right before it too. So it's like clothes, sweater, socks, this, that. And then my brother goes out to his car and he brings a fucking duffel bag in. And then he puts everything that they get me for Christmas, and he's like, all right, where are you going to go? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm going to stay here at Aunt Kathleen's house. And he's like, no. And I'm like, what do you, like...
Was that too easy for him, huh?
So I was like, well, where do I go? And he's like, wherever you want, I'll drive you there right now. I'm going to take you. And I'm like, all right, Skid Row? Like, are you going to drop me off? Okay, just take me to Skid Row, right outside the Midnight Mission. This fucking guy, dude, takes me to Skid Row, drops me off with this bag right outside the Midnight Mission. But I was like on the mission too, though. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing hair. But like right there, dude, like these guys are slamming dope. They are smoking crack. You know what I mean? And I just stand down there, and then I start asking them. I'm like, hey, I start asking people. I'm like, I've only ever used dope down here, but like, aren't all these homeless shelters? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what do you do to like stay in the shelter? And this guy's like, oh, you got to line up over there on San Pedro at like 5 or 6 or something. And then they let you in at like 8 p.m. So I did that the first night.
So if you're like in line, I mean,
you got to get in the line.
You got to be early enough? Do people go, doors closed? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's just so many beds. And then, dude, at 4:30 in the morning, they kick you out. And at like 4:45, there's like a shower. So like there's one shower, 20 guys, mental health. You're in there. Like if you want a shower, then like someone's bumping into you with some part of their body. You know what I mean? And I just had to like, all right, like I can't smell and I got to get this job. And then I remember too, just like, well, what do I do? So like I went and stood outside the U-Haul. You know what I mean? And nobody picked me. I don't speak Spanish. So it's like I went 3 days of staying outside the U-Haul with like nobody picking me. And then this one day, this guy comes and he's like, which one of you guys speak English?
You're like,
and I was like, right here.
My turn.
Hey, and then also this other guy's been standing there pretending like he doesn't speak English, this Mexican guy. I speak perfect English, sir, if you need help. I'm like, dude,
like,
I was like, I've been asking you guys, please, please get me in.
Yeah.
So I make like $450 around there, and then that's enough money to like, with GR, which is like a $250 thing that they give people indigent, and then some food stamps, I was able to like get into this sober living and start from there. But it's like, dude, I mean, you gotta like, nobody can dig that deep into their soul to fucking get that person to come out.
Yeah.
I can't get that from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, I'm like, I just hope that you believe in something bigger than yourself. And I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
But I can't get that from you.
No, there's nothing you're going to say that's going to make them go, yeah, pull that out of me. That's impossible.
One night I had to sit outside, and it was like winter. So this is like winter. I have to sit outside and like meditate until the GR office opened the next day. It was freezing. What kept me alive? Exactly. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I can't teach you this. I never can. Yeah. Like, you gotta find God, because in that moment, when you're sitting there for 5 hours, Like, dude, there's nothing in life that should be keeping you alive. It's freezing.
It's wild.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
wild.
it's like, that's why I always say, like, good for.
That's why I laugh at these stories because of where you are now, and I'm like, it's a like an unbelievable laugh of like I just can't imagine. I mean,
Right.
and I don't think you could imagine until you're there, and you go, yeah, this is how I'm handling this. Where other people, there's a reason so many people pass away down there, and just
Right.
because it's
For
not
sure.
in them. It's like you said, you either have it or you don't type of thing. But like, I can't pull it out of you.
That's supernatural.
No.
That's something else. That is, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I say, like, I could teach you a lot of things, but like, you have to find that connection to something that's bigger than yourself, that pushes you, or that you can go to, because I'll let you down.
Yeah.
I'm human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Humans are gonna let you down.
What's like?
So like, Liver King was meant to let you down.
Mhm.
You know what
True.
I mean? Like,
It's true.
like.
And-
I hope Wes Watson has all the answers for $5,000, but you know what? Probably he doesn't.
Yeah. He
You know,
doesn't.
like,
You know he doesn't.
Right.
We know he doesn't. But
He seems to have a lot, though.
he's got a lot of them.
I've never seen him be at a loss for words.
Yeah, he's got a lot of the
That's
answers.
for sure.
I look at like my favorite book's The Alchemist. I don't know if
Right.
you've ever read it.
I've dabbled in The Alchemist.
It's just
I listened to a lot of
yeah,
it.
the book itself is kind of what you explained, where it's like the voice said, "You're done," and you're like, "So I'm supposed to go through all this to now go help people?" And it's like, "Yep." It's the same thing in the book. He hears this voice the whole book,
Right.
and everybody's like, "What are you doing?" And he's
Right.
like, "Just keep going. I got to keep going." And he believes it so much. And the whole idea is that like when you find out what you're supposed to be doing with your life,
Right.
the world will align it for you. If you're pursuing what you're supposed to be pursuing, the world will line up to where it works for you. And that to me, that's why I said I don't think that's crazy. When you're
Right.
like, I just heard I'm done, and then I'm supposed to do this. It's like that is the world. Like
Yeah.
I mean, all of us. Like I'm sure in filming things and doing stuff, things line up for you, and you just go, that's the world telling you you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Because of these 5 opportunities in the last 4 months that kept you going enough to do this. If they didn't show up, you would have had nothing and went, this probably isn't for me.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So I'm a big believer, like, and it takes time. You can find your calling at 40. You can find it at 5. You can find it at 15. But the second you start selling out and saying, this is just, I'm compelled, I'm going to do it and let the world line up, it's going to line up.
And I see the thing too, the reality of it is I don't know how many more times in my life that voice will ever come again.
It might never.
And, you know, I think it had come like 1 or 2 times before that day. But at the same time, I do not question that. So every single day is about that.
Yeah.
It's like you have to wake up and you have to help people.
It's the alchemist. He
Dude,
just
and
keeps
that- and
going.
that-
He keeps
yeah.
trudging through the desert every day, and people are going, stop. And he's like, I can't. I literally can't.
There's no
it's
telling
so
if I'll even
powerful
get
that
another.
I have to keep going.
Right.
You won't. I mean, you might, but for what
No,
you're
you
doing,
won't.
because you don't need it.
I won't.
You don't need it.
There's like,
You got it, and you went, all right, this is it. I'm
dude,
done.
like the amazing shit that's happened in my life. I've done so many fucking amazing jobs. I've done so much cool shit. Like I could literally die right now and it might have the most fucking amazing life. And that's why I think too that I'm in this like extra innings of life. So there's no like questioning like, damn, should I keep doing this now? Like it's even too when people are like, dude, your plate is so full and this, and I'm like, that's how it has to be. Okay, we're back. Jake decided to ruin the fucking flow of things and had to go to the restroom.
Got to do it.
But listen, so wait, do you have any of your new hats?
I have one in here. Let me see that one.
Oh, that one's a good one.
This is a clean one. Here, that's our latest little logo. It's a clean one. These are the good old days. Rough Shot Supply Company.
How's that going?
It's going good, man.
We'll end with this because we're gonna talk about like.
It's going good, man. To me, it's just like The Alchemist, I guess. It's like when I started this, and we've talked about the story and how this thing came about. It was like during Corona, when everything was shut down. I was a baseball coach for youth kids, so
Right.
all of that was see you later. Couldn't do anything with the youth out of danger, but so I just for fun kind of wanted to start something. Started as a golf like apparel company.
I loved that idea though.
Yeah, me too. And then I realized like it wasn't my life. It wasn't I
You're
mean,
not
I'm
golfing enough?
I'm googling like golf terms to make shirts and like
Okay.
like lingo of golf, and I'm like, what am
Do
I
you
doing?
golf?
Yeah, I golf here and there. I'm not good. But here we go. And now that hat on the top left. So when I did the golf stuff, absolutely zero sales, not one thing. And then I moved into like maybe I'll just do clothes now. Like I like fashion. I like this stuff. To me, clothes are like they're kind of like working out, but for everybody.
Right.
Everyone has the favorite shirt. Like the overweight guy has one shirt that fits amazing.
Yeah.
The skinny guy has one shirt that he's like, I feel good in this thing,
Right.
whatever. And everyone in between, the pair of jeans, the hat, whatever it is. So I've always seen it as like a way of feeling good. You
Yeah.
put the right clothes on, you feel good. So it's always been an interest to me. So then I went straight into like just clothes and let's do that. Same thing, not one sale, not
Right.
one. And I'm like, cool. And my initial thought was like towards my friends. I'm like, not one friend bought something. And then
Never.
that circled back to like, they always complimented it. Yo, that's a sick shirt. Let me get one. I'm like, for what? I'm supposed to pay $12 to make this shirt to give it to you? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
So I initially was looking at my friends and people that I know, like saying you can't support me. But then I turned that into really quick. I'm like, well, number one, what did I expect? My friends to just every drop I make, they're going to spend $700 and
Right.
that's what's going to get me by. Like, that's not going to do anything. Like, my vision is big. Like, if you're going to be a successful in that kind of business, in any business, it's not going to be local. It's not going to be your friends. It's going to be worldwide, country, whatever you want to call it. So that, again, zero sales on the second attempt of Rough Shot. And then I was sitting there one night and I just thought, I'm going to do something. I'm going to create one logo that I feel like is me, just
Right.
me, what I believe in, what I think, how I feel, and whatever. That's what I'm going to start with now. And it was during Corona where everybody was at home and they're complaining about being stuck at home with my wife and kids all day. I can't get
Right.
out. I can't even pretend to go anywhere because everything's closed. And I'm like, to me, this is amazing. I've been gone for the first 3 years of my daughter's life. Now I'm here for everything, and I'm seeing how quick she was growing up and how much I've missed.
Yeah.
And that whole idea, it started off Rough Shot Supply Company, established in the good old days. That's like what it started off as. And then I'm like, I'm just going to make a hat that says, these are the good old days. Like,
Right.
and I wanted people to feel like like pay attention to where we're at because
Right.
you're going to miss it. Everybody looks back and goes, God damn, we were 12 riding our bikes around,
Right.
eating peanut butter and jellies. Those were the good old days. You're going to be 50 looking back when you were 25. You're going to be 70 looking back when you were 50. Those
Right.
are the good old days. We were 50. Oh, man, remember that? Like,
Yeah.
so to me, the brand and that hat, I made that, and overnight, I posted it in probably 20 sales of the original circle logo. And I woke up and was like, wow, 20
Right.
hats. And I didn't have a single hat. I made one sample, and that was it. So I'm like, oh, now I got to go figure out how to make 20 of these real quick and
Right.
figure out how to get them out. And I had no idea what I was doing. So that was like the moment for me, the alchemist moment, where I'm like, I decided to do what I want without trying to sell something that somebody else might like.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sell me in the version of a hat,
Right.
my ideas and my thoughts. And the whole brand's about just positivity, being where you're at. I say it all the time, like, be where your feet are. Like, wherever
Right.
you are, just be there.
Yeah.
And it took off. And what I like about it is that even more, like, initially, I didn't even think about the money and the sales and money coming in. I just felt like I was so happy that people were buying into this idea that was my thought on life. I'm like,
Right.
this is amazing that people. And then it started going even deeper to where I'm like, this makes sense because nobody's looking for this on the internet. They're looking for negativity without knowing it,
Right.
because that's all there is. It's like 95% to 5%. To find something good and positive on the internet is a friggin' task. So I think when people come across an ad of this hat or they see just the saying, they go, man, that makes me feel good.
Right.
I didn't even know I was looking for that. I wasn't looking for that. But all of a sudden, it's different than the 95% of screw this guy. Our government sucks. Athletes are
Yeah.
idiots. Like, it's just never ending. And then
Right.
you go, positivity? Wow. Where'd this come from? And you're kind of intrigued. And I think more people, everybody wants positivity,
Right.
but they might not know it, and they might not feel their lack of positivity until you really pay attention. And I think that's where the idea of like, hey man, these are the good old days right
Right.
now. Pay attention before you look back and go, damn, I missed it. So that's kind of what the whole brand is about, and it's been a fun little journey, that's for sure. It's growing.
I did this. If you go to younggodsmfg.com, so I did the Vibes Over Vices shirt with this guy, Positive Supply Co. I made it a collab design, and I was always like, this needs to take off. It's weird though, because like you said, maybe since there's nobody like look, you know what I mean, like
yeah, it's
the thing that really took off only is when rappers were wearing it. So it was a whole different vibe.
Yeah, you get it on a certain person, and then that person can kind of guide the vibe of your company. So you got to almost be careful.
I know.
Like by just going, oh, give it to a celebrity. And it's like I posted a picture of Mickey Moniak, a pro baseball player with the Angels. He was showing up to the game in the tunnel of the stadium, and he was wearing the hat. And that picture got all kinds of likes. People loved it because of who he was. He's a kid from Southern California who's like living the dream, really. I mean, and he's positive and he's happy, and that's his whole vibe. And he's a pro baseball player. Life is good, and they go, that makes sense. It fits the brand.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, that's been, so it's like, we're back on, I mean, we're literally doing good at Young God sales again via people just like DMing now.
Yeah.
So the website, I guess, isn't working.
It's not coming up.
That's crazy. But maybe that's why no one's ordering.
Maybe. Try the Instagram. Is that you?
No.
You got a different IG?
Yeah, that's it. It's working here. I don't know. The one on the top is like a new design I just did. That'll be out like next week. But it's weird though, cause nobody it's been a weird journey of like going through and kind of like now. There's the one shirt. That's the front of it though, I think. But that one was like super important to me because it's like,
it's a great logo.
Yeah, Vibes Over Vices. But nobody shoots drugs anymore. I used to shoot heroin, so I think it got just lost in translation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that.
That's what happened there, and that it's so crazy too, because some things where I'm like, this is the definitive. Like if you go if you see right there, there's like the girl wearing it right in front of that little pond. I never would have thought that was gonna be I never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because when you're creating the logos, you're like, obviously.
I blast them out.
Yeah, and you're creating it. So to you, it's a sweet logo.
Right.
And then, like, that's clean. That's so clean and simple.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's weird, though, with streetwear, though, because, see, I think, though, is you took off, though, being able to.
I have a big audience.
Yeah.
I have a big audience. So, but I learned this too. Like when that first hat kind of popped off, it was just the same as this.
Was the audience big yet?
No,
where was it at?
It wasn't huge.
Give us a number.
Yeah, it was big, but
35,000 at the time.
Probably bigger than that. Probably like 100, let's say.
Did you have any audience when we first met?
No, I think I had like 10,000 and
because I remember someone posted the Barstool Sport.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, that's the guy I just met yesterday.
Yeah, that's wild. No, I didn't have. When we met, no, we were just a couple dudes from Vista that were like, "What are you doing? You seem like you're doing what I'm doing."
Yeah.
We hooked up, but the audience helps for sure. But it's really, I think it really comes down to the product because I've made, when I first did ads. I took the blue hat, the first original Circle. These are the good old days.
Circle logo is good.
It's clean. It's super simple. And that was the first one that took off. And when I did the ads for it, I paid like $60 a day. And it was returning like $600 to $800 a day in sales.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's just because so many people are seeing it. Like I always believed, like Grant Cardone says it. He's like, if I could go back, I would take every loan I possibly could and put it into advertising.
Right.
If
I
I have
know.
a decent vacuum and you have a great vacuum
Right.
and 50,000 people see your vacuum and 500,000 see mine, I'm going to outsell you.
Right.
I'm going to win.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of people that are going to have decent vacuums. And that just is what it is. So I'm like, this is obvious to me. Like, make another hat with a different logo, pay $60 a day, it's going to sell.
Right.
And I did, and it didn't sell at all. I'm like, oh, it's the product. Like, the product truly matters. I mean, if that many people saw the first hat and bought it, and the same amount of people saw the second hat and didn't, it's because that's not the same. It's not the eye-catching. It's not whatever this one has, that one doesn't have.
Right.
So it just became, I think our two best sellers are the blue and natural circle one, and then the all black with the circle, same logo.
Right.
Two different color hats. Those are the two best sellers.
And are these hoodies on there right now? Or
The
no?
hoodies they're on there, but I think we only have a couple colors, and they're all like XL. But these are real simple. Like people ask the same thing here. Like you got coordinates underneath the saying, and people ask what was it to. It's, if you Google it, and how true it is or not, I don't know, but it's the only place that it says it's to the center of the world. So the idea is the same. You are in this. This is the center of the
Right.
world. Like where we're at right now, this is the center of our world today. This is what we're doing. And when we leave and we get in our car, driving is the center of our world. We're going to be there. We're going to drive. When you go home to the family, this is where we're at. So the idea of these are the good old days is just bigger than the fun saying of, we're in the good old days. Like,
Right.
This is cool. It's like, no, really, like, soak it in. Like, my daughter has basketball practice tonight. I can't wait to go sit there and watch it.
Right.
Can't wait for it. And it's going to be exciting to me, and it's going to be fun, and I'm going to
Kids are
soak it in.
awesome.
They are. So that's the idea of the brand. But, yeah, to your point, like you said, I mean, you have the one up there that sells well, and it's simple, it's clean, and that's what people clearly,
You never know.
the audience,
It's
you
like,
don't know.
and
You
then
never
also
know.
too, so like the Young Gods Wrecking Crew logo
Mhm.
killed it on a matching red, blue, and all black
Yeah.
jumpsuit that was French Terry. That's like now, because of everything that's happened with supply chain, impossible to
Impossible to get.
reproduce. It's just like impossible, and that's the crazy thing too, because then you're like, wow, how do I like where do I go right now?
Yeah, where do I find that?
That's been, I mean, these will be the struggles too that like you know, I don't
Yeah, you come through.
you probably won't run into these struggles. I feel like
I've had it to where like early on, that blue hat sold so well that we ran out of our stock, and then where we originally got it was out for like a month and a half, and I'm
right,
like,
it's the worst.
we cannot get this hat.
And
We can't
then
get it
it's
back.
like if you're in winter and you run out of a winter item,
Yeah.
then spring
By the
comes
time
and
you
you're
can get it, it's gone. I
Yeah.
know. It's crazy. It's an interesting world. I think that's part of what makes it fun, is the fact that you have to, I think that's what's given me the liberty to continue to do it, is that we have one thing that will continuously sell, at least it has for the past 7-8 months, continuously. We'll sell a couple a day. So there's one product that is like, this will always give you a couple bucks. And
Right.
it gives you the leeway to like, go, cool, now let's just keep creating. And when one hits, like now we have two.
well.
When another one hits, now you have three. Like,
If you were going full throttle winter wear
mhm,
at the right time,
mhm.
I think you would have like exploded
Yeah.
into a new.
I did not do that.
Yeah.
I wish I would have. Hindsight, I missed the boat. But I was, in
It
all
doesn't
honesty,
matter though. You have next year.
It'll come back. In all
This
honesty,
is never gonna end.
I was treading water the past 4 months with this, trying to just keep my head above water as a small company with me and my partner. Like, just we went from 0 to 100,
Right.
and not like, oh, we're making $1 million, but just we sold our first hat and didn't know how to make shipping labels.
Right.
Didn't know anything.
Right.
So it was like, well, what are we doing? I bought this hat. Let me remember what site I bought this one hat from, and now I got to go try to find that site again and see if they
Yeah.
have more. And we've sold a couple, but we're about to spend more money on getting this product than we are like the ones we've sold. Like if we made $300, we're about to go spend $600 on the inventory for
That's
it,
always.
and we just don't know. But it's so early, we don't know if it's going to sell. We might be on a 3-day hot streak, and it will never sell again. So it was
Right.
just the curve and the learning. It was wild. It was fun. And I feel like now
Our video guy knows.
he knows.
There's never
He
ending.
knows. I know.
He now needs $40,000
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
of technology.
Yeah, he didn't jump into this with these cameras, I'll tell you that. He went, oh, let me get this one. Let me
Right.
get that one. So I think that's the fun part about doing your own thing, for sure. Not having a boss, not having this and that. It's on you. And that's the only thing for me, and same for you, is that when you create something that has your name on it, it's a different ball game. Like, you don't get a shirt from Nike and not like it and call Phil Knight.
Right.
You just talk to the gigantic corporation that is Nike. Like, you produce a bad video for somebody and they're going to go, hey, dude. You're like, damn, that's me. You get something, you're going to get a DM that goes, my shirt's got a hole in it. I just got it. And you're like, yeah, that's me. Like, people go, this is Brandon's company.
Right.
And same with me. I mean, not everybody knows.
I
it's me,
used
but
to detach myself, though.
yeah,
But I realized that now I'm making...
you shouldn't.
Right.
You shouldn't. I think the biggest thing you can do is put a face, name, personality to a brand, because
Right.
it's just like when you see a $120 hat that looks like that's this. If you saw this for $120, you'd go, no thanks. And then when you see it selling, it's because, oh, that's Michael Jordan's hat.
Right.
Oh, that's Lil Wayne's hat. That's
And
why
it's-
people are buying it for $120, because the brand is the person, and they will spend the money because it's who it is. Your personality and your presence will sell more than just your clothes. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
people will buy it because they want to support you. They like what you're making. So
And
to
right
put
now,
yourself out there is
this one
important.
right here is roughshotsupplyco.com.
Yeah, I think.
We're at 500 hours of streaming of Trash Can Talk podcast. And I forget that. I always think everyone's watching it. But if you're listening,
Mm-hmm.
check out roughshotsupplyco.com.
Yeah.
We're talking about the These Are the Good Old Days hat. There's a bunch of options for it on there. No, we have like a major listening audience that I didn't
Yeah.
know that this is, and that was the new thing. It's weird because I'm talking to my listening audience right now, and they'll never I'll never know who they are. There's someone
It's
listening to
strange.
this podcast so much right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate you more than anything.
No
and that's
doubt
why we
about
do
it.
this. There's one guy who's reached out, which is like, he's always like, I can't believe that you're spending time to like, because I've literally helped him work through some things in his life, probably for hours now of his life. You know what I mean?
It's awesome.
And it's just it's crazy too, but like the listeners, it's awesome. If you're listening to this episode, watch this episode and tell us what you think comparatively. It's gonna be night and day.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. We're
And
excited.
hopefully we'll be coming with this quality from now on.
Mm-hmm. That's the plan.
That's what we're working on. So if you guys can either go support roughshotsupplyco.com, pick up a hat, or younggodsmfg.com. It's working on my phone. So this was completely funded by Young God Sales. That's when I started, getting microphones and stuff like that. And so if you could help us by supporting those, there's Trash Can Talk podcast merch on the Young God site also. We have this amazing new shirt, which actually too, if you listen to this episode to right now and you DM me, I'll send you a free shirt.
There you go. Go get
For the
me.
new Trash Can Talk podcast shirt.
I'm about to DM you when we get off this.
Right. I gotta
Need my
make you a
shirt.
bunch of stuff,
Need
dude.
my
I
shirt.
always forget to bring you something.
Yes, sir. This has been good. Very good.
If there's anything, okay, so also our mailing list is at trashcantalkpodcast.com. You can email us on that website. We're on all streaming platforms now. YouTube. Like I said, we're gonna step up the video game here. Jake, how you spell the Instagram and the
Savicki. Savicki. Just straight Jake Savicki. This is my TikTok and Instagram. That's you can find me by that.
and
name.
mine's Trash Can Talk Podcast. So if you're one of the listeners and you want to like reach out, there's Trash Can Talk Podcast on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you guys, or you can email the website trashcantalkpodcast.com. I'd like to let you guys know as fans, Trash Can Talk has been trademarked by me. We're in the process of getting my registered trademark.
That's awesome.
So it's trashcantalkpodcast.com.
There we go. Beautiful.
And yeah, so we're on all the streaming platforms. Every time we upload a new video, it's right there where you can check it out. Oh yeah, so we do have a new sponsor. So technically, NoHo Recovery. This will probably be the last time that I mention this though, because we are starting a entertainment company. But I do want to thank the NoHo Recovery family for believing in this podcast and actually putting a lot of financial support into it. I've never had someone support something I do financially, so thank you to these guys, Narek, Daniel, Luca, Trey. Thank you guys for having an innovative way of addressing addiction and recovery. There's MacNet right there, Trey. Yeah. Thank you guys very much for listening. Would you like to
Very
thank
cool.
anyone?
Very cool. Yeah, same thing. Obviously, got Mitch here today. Like you said, hopefully,
Right. Mitch is on board.
you guys will get this quality audio, video, whatever you're watching or listening on from here on out, which I think is amazing. So, and
Especially
always,
if you put those orders in.
yeah, there you go.
So we could pay Mitch right now. We just got him. We didn't buy him lunch.
We didn't get him lunch
We
yet.
should have
Maybe
got him
after
lunch.
this. No, always. Thank you. And thank you for having me on here. I love it.
Thank you guys.
Sir.